Hey, everyone. Blockchain Bernie here, episode 360. And this one is about big changes, big progress, big shipments of software that is outstanding. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end because there's a lot of information here about all the upcoming releases that we're going to do, and also a big change about this YouTube channel, Blockchain Bernie. So make sure you'll watch it all the way through the end. All right, so development stages, right? So with 2024, right, the past year, we have achieved a lot. Here at Xandeum, we've developed our storage-enabled liquid staking product. We've launched our token. Can you believe it? And so many things that we and we've been to Singapore and showed our product there and had, you know, huge resonance there from so many people. So now is 2025. 2025 is the year where we make it happen, where we build that scalable storage layer for the Solana chain. And we have already started. The DAO is up there. Our DevNet is up and running. We have over 25 nodes running in our new DevNet. Thank you, everyone, for doing that. And we will ship a lot of software, and that means we will launch the PNodes, the storage provider nodes, really soon. It's all gonna happen right now. So let's dive into a quick overview of what that means here. So I have a big sheet here. I'll show that to you later on. I know it's a little bit intimidating, but before we do that, let me give you this little overview here of the whole architecture, right? So we built that storage layer. It is a second layer of Solana accounts. The accounts are super fast, but they are limited in capacity. So they make that world computer called Solana kind of a crippled computer. It doesn't have that disk, that file system that each and every other computer has. And we're building that. We have these so-called XAND apps up here. The XAND app is a storage-enabled decentralized app. So those are the future apps that will be built on top of Solana and on top of Xandeum. And we already have so many people that are interested in building their storage-enabled decentralized app on our Xandeum platform. So the way it works is these future storage-enabled dApps, they will come into a specialized RPC node, and this RPC node will run a specialized Solana validator software. We take the Solana validator software called Agave, we modify it to detect and intercept the Xandeum transactions, which are extended transactions that have the additional storage functionality in there that the native vanilla Solana does not have. So it comes into that RPC node running our software, a modified version of the Agave validator, and it's checking whether it's an X transaction. The X transaction is the Xandeum transaction, the storage-enabled transactions. If it is not, then it'll just flow through into the transaction processing unit, the TPU, of a normal Solana validator, no Xandeum here, right? But if it is a Xandeum transaction, it'll go to a special piece of software that we're building. It's called the dock, and it's running on the same computer as this RPC node. It's communicating via Unix domain sockets. I don't want to bore you here with technical details. And this dock will be sending these transactions, and those can be the peek and poke transactions that I've been talking about so often. You can store stuff, take it out of a Solana account and store it in a Xandeum file in our file system, right? And on the other hand, you can read it from a Xandeum file into a Solana account. So that's the whole concept that you know from normal computers with RAM and disks, right? So we do all that here. And then we have a component called Atlas, right? Because all the data that we're building is paged. It's chunked into pages here. We call these pages. This is a concept borrowed from Unix memory management. It's a key value store. and then it's going to be forwarded to the pods, right? And the pods is one part of the story that's running on these PNodes. PNodes have the XAND miner. It's a nice GUI for managing your PNode. And the pods is the actual workers here that actually store the data, and they store pages. And Atlas is orchestrating all that, right? So that's how this looks like. And that means the first version we're going to have soon. So the PNodes are really going to be launching soon. So stay tuned here. What I'm going to show you now is this big sheet, and don't worry, I don't walk through all of it with you here in this video. It looks a little bit intimidating if you look at that, but what I want you to know is we have several eras here, right? And it starts with the Deep South era, it goes into the South, the Main, the Central, the Coal, and the North era, right? And in each era, we have different versions here. The versions have numbers, and they also have names, which turns out to be German cities. And the whole journey here is a journey through Germany from south to north here, right? Okay, so the first release, the era goal is just to get started. So we launched the PNode network with release 0.1 here. And we hope to have that happen hopefully still in February. Isn't that awesome? I'm going to be in Salt Lake City in all of February, as you know. So I'll have to manage everything from there. But we hope to be launching those PNodes in February. That'd be just awesome. And then we have all these other eras here, right? So with the South era and the Munich release here, release 0.3, we're going to have a working prototype of everything that the storage layer does, right? So that means with that Munich release, release 0.3, developers that want to build storage-enabled apps, they can already build these apps, and they will be working on that storage layer, right? And it will all be stored on the PNodes that you guys will operate, right? So man, I think that is fantastic news, and we think we can be there in the South era, in the Munich release, by March this year, which is, just around the corner, right? So there is going to be a lot of speed here. And going back to this chart here in the South era, so let me see if we have the audio here, because last time there was no audio. I think we'll have it now. That's awesome. So with that, the pods BFT here, right? So that's an important column here, right? So we have several columns here. I go through them with you, right? So this is the setup API. And in the Munich release already, really early, we're going to have the full setup API. So anyone who builds on Solana, who builds these futuristic apps that have access to storage, they can use that full API starting already from the Munich release. And we don't think this API will change a lot. There won't be much breaking changes here. So that means whoever is first building one of these fantastic apps that are storage enabled, they will be able to keep that same code. They don't have to modify the code, and they can use it all the way here through that journey, right? Then we'll have that paging here where all the data is going to be paged. We don't have paging in the early releases in the Deep South era here, but we're going to have it in the South, right? So starting from the Munich release, we're going to have all the data chunked and paged and stored in pages on those PNodes. Then redundancy. Redundancy is a core feature because we don't want that data only be stored on one single PNode, right? It all needs to be fault tolerant. But in the beginning, just to get out and to have developers being able to develop without having to make any change later on, we build the first releases without redundancy, right? And then we'll add it at a certain stage here, right? So you see redundancy is no, and it's going to be added in the Stuttgart release in version 0.6. Then we're going to have the redundancy in there, right? And then a very important feature is the BFT in the pods, right? So that's here, right? So we see in the Stuttgart release, we start with redundancy, and then with the pods BFT, right? So that is the Byzantine fault tolerance, right? So I could talk for ages here. I make it short for you guys. Byzantine fault tolerance just means that any of the pods, any of the PNodes can just fail and it just keeps humming. And does that sound like the foundations of blockchain? Yeah, it sounds like it because that is the foundation of blockchain, right? All blockchains, public blockchains, have Byzantine fault tolerance. That means any node can fail and we'll just hum along even though that node fails and just other nodes in the network will take over. That's been the basis of everything since Bitcoin, right? But there is two types of fault tolerance. There is crash fault tolerance, it's called CFT, and there is Byzantine fault tolerance called BFT. So what's the difference? Crash fault tolerance means if one node crashes, we can take over, but we kind of assume that none of these nodes is malicious, right? None of these nodes intentionally tries to bring down the network or give us wrong data or stuff like that, right? But that's the crash fault tolerance clearly is not enough here, right? Any node could be malicious because we don't control them, right? It's all about decentralized control. Everyone controls their own nodes. So that means we don't want to trust everyone to be a fair player, right? Some of them could be malicious and we need to be tolerant against that. That's why we need the BFT. And then when we go back to this column here, I hope you can read it, but otherwise I'm just explaining it to you here so you don't have to read everything here. We start with no BFT, and then later on we'll bring that Byzantine fault tolerance to that storage layer. And I'm telling you guys, that is one of the most challenging parts in that whole architecture here, right? It's not an easy feat. Doing BFT in blockchains is complex. Mostly everyone relies on something called PBFT, Practical Byzantine Fault Tolerance. That's a scientific paper that came out in 1999, if I'm not mistaken. And all the proof of stake blockchains are working on that. So Ethereum is working on that. Solana is working on that. Everyone. Until like in 2018-19, there was that project called Libra. Remember that? That was when Facebook was trying to bring out their own blockchain, which they later canceled that project. But that Libra, these Libra guys came out with a new Byzantine fault tolerance, right? That was the one major innovation after 1999. 1999, everyone had PBFT and everyone picked up on it. And Solana used PBFT because when they started out, there was no alternative. Right now we have an alternative, and the name of that alternative is called Hot Stuff, right? Don't blame me for that. I didn't give it that name, but it's just called like that. It's the Hot Stuff Byzantine fault tolerance, and it has been adopted by Aptos and Sui. They are built on their own modified version of the Hot Stuff BFT that was originally developed by the Libra team. And it is really hot stuff because it makes the blockchain faster, it makes it easier to implement, and it's especially well suited. And we looked into that, right? It's all not easy, it's scientific stuff, but we found out it's especially well suited for a storage network, right? And we're not doing a blockchain in the sense that we keep a ledger of all these changes in our storage layer, right? We just keep the latest state in there because otherwise we couldn't scale if that would all be a blockchain. And by the way, Filecoin is going that way, right? They have their own blockchain for their own storage, and that adds a lot of overhead, right? So we're cracking the code here in order to make this faster and more accessible and easier to implement and all these things. And we are tapping on what the Libra team thankfully has done for us and adopting that hot stuff, and not only adopting, but also adapting it to what we need here for the storage network, right? So this is going to be part of the later releases here that you see here in the central era, and then in the coal era, we're going to be introducing fee markets. So it's all supply and demand-based fee markets for all the storage fees here. All the storage fees will be paid in Sol as part of the transaction fees that the apps are paying. And all these fees that are collected from the apps will be distributed down that ecosystem, right? To the validators that help validating all those PNodes, to the PNodes themselves, and also to our storage-enabled liquid staking. That's where it all comes together. The liquid staking helps you with staking your Sol to collect all these storage fees that will be coming out later on. So you're absolutely future-proof with staking with the Xandeum liquid staking pool. If you have Sol lying around, it is literally a no-brainer to stake it with the Xandeum liquid staking pool. So we have all these releases, and I haven't showed you the final era, which is the North era, which is all for scale and performance. And there's a lot of detail here. And we've planned all this through here and thought all this through and have this detailed milestone plan here, and we are going to rush through this milestone plan in 12 months. Can you believe it or not? So that doesn't mean in 12 months it's going to be a battle-proven thing. Of course not. But we want to have the whole thing up and running in 12 months here. And with all these eras, and with the fee markets, and with the scaling, and with, you know, all the feature, and the BFT, and all the features that are in there, right? And we're going to do that step by step, and we have outlined all the steps here that we're going through, right? And by January 2026, we will be there in the North era and have, you know, developed all these things here. So we're going to push out these releases like crazy, because that is, for us, what the year 2025 is all about, is building this thing, right? So that means me, as the technical founder of Xandeum, I will focus like crazy on getting this development effort through. And there is some marketing effort that we just have to do, and, you know, we want to get the PNodes out real soon, and it's gonna, you know, it's gonna need some marketing to trumpet it out into the market that the PNodes are now launched, and finding enough guys. Hopefully you will run one of these PNodes. Just stay up to date. Go to Xandeum.network, sign up for all our channels, the Discord, subscribe to this channel, by the way. And give me that like button. That's all I'm asking you for today. And leave me a comment here. So, and subscribe to all these channels so that you won't miss when the PNodes are launching. And it's going to be sooner than you think. All we need is that very first release, the Constants release. And then you have the Pods software and the Xanminer software in initial versions that you can run on your PNodes. And we're also getting closer to the requirements, what it actually needs to be. I don't want to say anything here because it's not really finalized. And I know, like, if I say something that's not really thought through and it might change, then we have so many people that get confused, right? So let's stick with, we're close there, and you know, just stay up to date in all our channels. We're soon going to have that so that you can run your PNodes. We need hundreds, hopefully thousands of those even in our DevNet, right? So we need a lot of people running these PNodes, the storage provider nodes, because that's the whole thing of Xandeum. It's a scalable storage layer. So we will be able to store exabytes and exabytes and more of data in that scalable storage layer. So in order to test it, even in our DevNet, we need lots and lots of these PNodes. And those will be smaller nodes with regards to CPU and RAM than the validator nodes that we already have in our DevNet. And then we're going through all these changes. So what does that all mean now for the future here and for the year 2025? Well, there is one consequence for this YouTube channel. I will not do 3 videos a week anymore for the next few months while I'm focusing on this development. I will do 1 video per week, right? Not 3 per week as I've done so far. So this video is going to be Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's noon Eastern, and that's, 1800 in Central Europe. I think that's a good time for everyone, and I'm just going to do that once a week because simply for the simple reason I need to focus on building this storage layer, and that you will hear a little bit less of myself, and I will be less frequently on Discord. You've already noticed it. I'm on there quite a while, but not always. But the next DAO proposal is coming, and there will be lots of DAO proposals that are coming out now, one after the other. But likely, I will not be so accessible for the next few months simply because, and I've already focused on developing this architecture here. This was not like something you do on a Saturday, after, between lunch and something, right? This is hard work here to come up with, a total of 39 releases or so. How do we stage all that? How do we put it all in an order here so that it all fits together? How do we research all that? What of these things are applicable here? So one more time, right? This is not your average app where it's clear that it can be done and how can it be done. This is technically super, super challenging, right? And it will be also super, super challenging to spread the word to so many people that we need to do, but we cannot do both at once, right? We've listed the token, we launched our liquid staking pool, and we could now we have a choice, right? We put all our effort now into spreading the word, getting tens of thousands of people that buy the token, that stake with our liquid staking pool. We could do that. But does that help us in the long run? It won't, right? We want to push forward our vision and our mission to make the whole internet more decentralized, to make humanity more decentralized by having a world computer that deserves the name, right? That has a storage layer. So we need to build that, and we will build that in the next 12 months. It's not going to be battle proven yet, right? But it's more than a prototype, and it's more than an MVP. It's going to be there with all the features that I've shown you here in this little table here, right? But all of that might be there in 95% maturity. It needs to be battle proven then after that for a year or two after that. And remember, even Solana is still in beta, right? But we're going to push that through in 12 months. And then we have the other push with, spreading the word and getting enough people that are interested in that and getting many people that want to build these apps that are storage enabled and all these type of things, right? But we can only do it one after the other. So we'll have to do that now. I don't look at the token price in the meantime because we need to build. And I don't want to look at, followers on X and all these type of things. That's all irrelevant or not too relevant for 2025. What's relevant for Xandeum for 2025 is building that storage layer. I'm going to focus on that, and that's one of the reasons that I will be on this channel only once a week, starting from today. So you will see me next Thursday here, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern, 1800 Central European time. And, I will do a lot of AMAs still. So if you need these Ask Me Anythings or something, let me know in the comments. Let me know in Discord or whatever. We'll do those AMAs. We make those monthly updates. And of course, these once a week videos will be mostly about progress we're making here in this thing, right? So that's more of an internal thing. I'm not even sure if I want to publish this. I mean, it's here in the YouTube channel. You can take a screenshot if you want. But this is more like our internal guide here on going through this. It might change, you know, once we're at version 0.6, we might see, okay, we moved these things around, or we forgot something important, or whatever it might be. But this is the plan, though, and it is going to be super, super challenging with the team that we have. And I like to keep it at a small team. If I grow the team now like crazy, we won't be able to do it in a year, right? If we go from 4 developers to 12, you know, it's going to take us half a year to have the other 8 up to speed, right? And then we can start, right? So it's going to be with the team that we have, unless you feel like you can contribute like crazy and you can start immediately. You know how the hot stuff BFT works, you know Rust exceptionally well, and you can do all the things that I described in this video. Please send me your resume, right? Then absolutely, right? But we can only use people that are ready to run, right? If we need to onboard them and explain them the whole Xandeum story, it's just not going to work, right? So for the next 12 months, there is focus, 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 and the focus is on building that thing that we've all thought through. And I think it's going to be awesome. And, you know, again, during those 12 months, I don't care that much what happens with adoption or with the token price or with the liquid staking. If you want to do something good and you own some Xand, also stake your soul with our liquid staking pool, because all the rewards, the earnings, go right into the DAO, right? You see that today. We already have $12,000 or so in DAO earnings there that are in the DAO already. And that belongs to all the Xand token owners. So if you have Sol lying around, or if you have friends that have Sol lying around, do that with our liquid staking pool. By the way, the soulmate function that I talked about a few videos ago, it is live, right? So if you run a Solana validator and you have some stake, you stake it with our liquid staking pool. Our pool will stake directly back to your validator, so you're losing nothing. And we will reach out to a bunch of validators right now. But hey, that feature is live. We've shipped it. So our team is awesome. Our dev team is awesome. You know, we're doing a little bit of things because the reward season is ending on January 29th. So the dev team has to do a little bit for all of you to be able to claim your rewards for the past 3 months. But then, you know, we're moving like crazy on this roadmap here. This is our roadmap. This is 2025. Those are the big changes that are coming to Xandeum. It's going to be ship, 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 baby. We're going to ship one release after the other, and we're going to be focusing on that, right? So there are a lot of things that we will not do during that time. So don't be surprised if this is not there and that is not there, and there you hear less, and there, you know, we will do some of it that we can delegate or something, but otherwise we are focusing on building this thing. And that also means for me, I'm going to do less of these videos. I hope you stick with this channel anyway. You recommend it to your friends. You, again, give us that like button, subscribe to this channel, and I hope you enjoyed this little video. And with this little video, it is more important than ever that you leave me your comment down there and tell me what are your thoughts for the future of Xandeum for 2025. Have we made the right decision? Would you have made other decisions? And I honestly want to know that, so let me know right down there in the comments. All right, hope you enjoyed this little video. Catch you guys later. Peace.